1 out of every 5 students report being bullied. 13% were made fun of, called names, or insulted. They were pushed, shoved, tripped, or spit on. 1 in 5 tweens have been cyberbullied. It's a problem, and it has to stop. Welcome to Bully This, a hero's journey. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Our passion is to show kids that there is life after bullying. You'll hear from former bullies and bullying victims, and you'll hear how they made their journey from troubled youth to successful adults. Welcome to Bully This, a hero's journey. Now your hosts, Tyler Copenhaver Heath and Clifford Starks.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Bully This, episode 10, or season 2, episode 2. I'm Tyler.
I'm Clifford.
And Cliff, it's time for another one, right?
1 out of 10, not so bad. So
yeah.
give me it and let's see what I do.
Well, here's the thing too. Like, I talked to the guys about setting us up on the opposite side of the table because I think every time you cheat.
No, not cheating. Not cheating.
There is no way.
I got that one right on my own.
There's no way you could possibly cheat this time. So let's talk about a singer. And he opened up about teasing that he experienced in 9th grade. He actually published a YouTube video, and a group of older boys found out at school that this video was online. And they started teasing him and saying, sing for me. And he posted about this. He said, that made me feel absolutely horrible. Made me feel like a joke. Like what I was doing was stupid or wrong, he recalled. He also said, it's not a joke to me. To me, to make somebody feel bad about what they're doing when they're doing what they love, every single person deserves to do what makes them feel alive. So this was in reflection after he was already famous. Mm-hmm. You got any guesses?
Justin Timberlake.
No, that's a good guess. Shawn Mendes.
Oh.
Yeah. So he basically
1 out of 12.
and since the beginning, I've said I want to have an episode on a musician because I think artists actually suffer the most from some of this stuff because what makes them like amazing in their talents is considered maybe odd to some people or they get made fun of for it. Like I see, especially with musicians and stuff, it seems like a lot of the people that we've actually talked about celebrity wise were musicians that were teased, right?
It's very true.
I mean, it happens with athletes and stuff too, you know, and like computer people and things like that. But I notice like the artists, especially like what's making them unique and what will eventually be their greatness, they get picked on for it. So really happy to have a musician on the show today. Our next guest, he's a fan of the show. We've been interacting. Great guy. He's an up-and-coming musician. Recently noticed in a post he was talking about having over 1 million streams on his latest song. So it's a good thing we have him on now before he doesn't want anything to do with us anymore. Yeah. He's worked with Nick Jonas, Meghan Trainor, and oddly, Shawn Mendes.
Oh, nice.
So I didn't even plan that. Okay. To name just a few. He's not only a performer, but he's also a gifted writer, producer, mixer, and he masters all his own tracks. And by the way, a lot of his music is based on trying to help other people. Nice. In addition, he works with others in their music. He's worked with Craig Mabbitt from Escape the Fate, Danny Worship from Asking Alexandra, Jason Page, who's the original singer of the Pokemon theme song. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. And many others. Super excited to have on Lenny J today with us.
Nice.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for making it. It's so crazy the way like I set the intro up, you know, with some questions and stuff, like I always do. And then Shawn Mendes, I didn't even put that together, you know, so it just so happened that it's kind of fate today.
Yeah. You never know with who's going to pop off. Because I remember when I first was really pursuing music professionally or for like full time, as you would say, I played this show. And Shawn Mendes was on the bill, and he didn't have any of his really big hits yet. It was back when, if you know the song Stitches at all, but he was sitting there on the steps. We were backstage, and I'm like, how you doing? Like, you know, you're on next, because we were just on what I was doing. So he was even on after us, and he was like, yeah, it'll be good. I'm going to play a new song. And he played Stitches, and I was like, oh, this is a good song. And like, here we are now, you know. You never know who's gonna pop off. But yeah,
no.
Shawn's awesome.
Did you know that about him too? That he took some flack for his music early on?
I didn't know exactly that, but I did know I've met the person that taught him guitar and produces and writes with him all the time. A close friend of mine who I write with a lot, his close friend is that person that pretty much like guided Shawn forward, which is cool to witness things like that and people helping each other as opposed to, bringing them down.
Totally. And you and I have discussions a little bit offline, or online rather, about, like trying to go through some of the struggles it takes to, help people. It's like you have some flack that you get online. I do. Cliff does. Everybody gets some flack online, but it's like the greater purpose, right? And that's something that spoke to me with Shawn's, message that he put out there is like, look, he was picked on for this growing up. And now it's become such an asset and a tool to now make a difference for other people, right?
Yep. And with music too, the bullying kind of gets worse the further you go and the longer you do this for. So even before I go back to the beginning, I feel like the bullying and everything is at its worst right now for me. Believe it or not, as I, get more streams, get more followers, the more eyes on you, the more things people have to say. And it almost doesn't make sense because, wow, I'm growing so much. People are receiving my music so much. They must hate me. It doesn't make sense though, because you're growing. So do they they're probably like, I don't like you. And they get you out and then they put on, your song. Yeah.
Because they had to hear it or see you, and so that's within their algorithm too. The social media sources are no dummies. Cliff and I were on an episode, these really great ladies from England, Strong Tea.
Yeah.
And they were asking about bullies online and we were talking about it. And I do think there's two places that cowards dwell these days. And it's behind the wheel of their car and online. And especially you and I were talking before the episode. It's like, it's always the person online that has no profile, no picture, all they want to do is post some hate, and then we have no idea who they are. So
yeah, a few months ago on one of my songs, I posted myself. I was a view of Manhattan behind me and I was just singing my song. I pretty much just try to sing my chorus of songs wherever I can at any given moment, because that's just content to post. Content isn't just a flyer anymore or a billboard of what you did as an accolade. It's actually like a net in the ocean. So each time you post that chorus, it could reach 100,000 new people. So yes, I'm going to post my chorus 100 times. And if you don't like that, that's fine. What's going to happen is you're going to enjoy the song and we're going to have a great time at the concerts. That's the point of all of it. But anyway, I was posting the video of me singing my chorus. Someone wrote, I hate you. I really hope you kill yourself eventually. And I was like, thank you. Yeah. Another comment was, and the text on it said, one day I'm going to play Madison Square Garden. This is where I'm from, New York City. That's the dream. I've seen people go from their rooms to the garden. I've witnessed it. It's possible. I'm growing. I've toured. I've done things most musicians never do, and I'm so grateful. So it is possible. So I will do those things. I've played shows like that. And for people to comment that is so extreme, and they do hide behind the keyboard because it's a private profile with no picture. But it even stems back to just people hiding. And also sometimes they don't even hide. If you want another bully story, I was walking with my girlfriend. We're just walking in the park in Jersey. This was a couple months ago. These kids, like 10 to 12 years old, had to be middle school, are walking up to us, cursing us out, going, you effing emo losers, look at you. Are you goth? Both of you are losers. I'm like, I'm a grown man and she's a grown woman and you're a child, like cursing me out to my face. I was like, if this was the 90s, it would go to that violence route with people because things are crazy back then. But like now it's like, with all the acceptance we need, there were kids making fun of me and also my girlfriend to our faces. I didn't know what to do. I looked at her and I was like, what do we do here? These are children. I can't like attack them or yell at them or scream at them. All I need to do is them film me and put me on their TikTok, and then my career is over. But it's really insane how I will post things too online. Speaking of keyboard warriors, I recently did a quick Taylor Swift cover on my TikTok, right? I love Taylor Swift. She was picked on often. She's picked on even now and has to re-record her whole catalog. So it's a scary industry. Her fans are often picked on, a lot of them. But her fan base, and I bet you they might even attack me for this, and I hope you don't edit it incorrectly, but their fan base attacks me if I cover her, even if it sounds great or not. It doesn't matter. You're covering their savior. You're not allowed. And
interesting.
They berated me. I'm talking about tagging people saying, we need this taken down. Can you do me a favor? Never sing again. You're horrible. You're a loser. I never want to listen to Taylor Swift again because of you. You're not allowed to listen to Taylor Swift. Stop it. I hate you. Like, it got thousands of views and comments of just hating on me because other people did it and they run with it, but it's only those fans doing it. And it's really weird because even another musician I know goes, throwback to 2015 when you were allowed to cover Taylor Swift before getting attacked. So even they see it. And I clicked most of the profiles that are doing it. It's young boys, girls, they, them, whatever community you belong to, posting videos of them crying that they were attacked at school. And then you're attacking me when my music is literally made for us just to sing along together and get along. My song Tommy Pickles, named after Tommy Pickles from the Rugrats. He's a leader. I literally say, together we could lift each other because we all deserve a chance. All my music is to push forward. I don't even make many love songs. It's all about achieving what you want, whether it's a goal, finding love, whatever. If you have a goal, a dream, it's that you could do it no matter what. It's not impossible. That's the point of my music. You tell me right now, Cliff, you want to be an astronaut? I'm going to say, okay. Like, I'm not going to be phased. Or if you tell me after this episode, you're not going to host with Cliff anymore and you want to be a scuba diver, go ahead. Or you want to be a tennis player, sure. I don't even question it, but I don't know. People online are attacking me and other people, especially those who are attacked. And I comment back even saying, hey, I looked at your profile. There's a video of you crying that you were picked on today. My music is about the acceptance of that. And I hope you find it in you to understand what I'm saying. Go F yourself. No, I don't. I want to. And I'm like,
wow.
What?
So that's your response?
Yeah. And I was like, I'm saying, and then someone else will, like, I've been getting a lot of happiness lately, and my following actually doubled in the last like month and a half on TikTok and social media. Everything's just going more rapidly right now, and it's really amazing. I made the radio for the first time this month, which has been super exciting. But the point is, I don't focus on the hate, but I get confused by it. And I tend to focus on it inadvertently because I'm like, how are they so quick to attack when most songs on the radio about getting wasted, underage kids doing things. Like, it's a very confusing time. I feel like I sound old when I say I don't get the new generation. They're singing about being wasted and they're 17, they're 16. This is major labels, adults promoting children under influence of stuff, and that they won't find love, that they want to kill themselves and all this extreme things. But I say something and I'm told from people, I've had people even close to me tell me, your positivity is toxic. all you do is push forward. Life isn't like that. You need to get over it. You're not happy. You're not. I'm like, well, yeah, I know I'm not happy. I don't hide that. I try really hard to be happy, and I push positivity because I don't want people to feel how I do. And if I could help that for them, great. But for you to tell me I'm living in this happiness as a false thing, or they tell me you're choosing depression, and people who are sad choose that, and you're being happy because it's a front, it's fake. It's just like that. Oh, what will please people? And I'm learning you got to take care of yourself and the people around you, and that'll spread that kindness to where it needs to go. And not to keep this as a run-on conversation, but it reminds me of Cliff's episode where he said he can't be on the bus with everyone and protect them when they're getting picked on. Like, you just can't be on every bus protecting every kid on the way to school.
Drag me back to like where music came in and like younger years kind of stuff.
I didn't start music until well into high school, so we got to get there first. But before that, I always felt like I did not fit in whatsoever. I was too hyper aware of everything. I still don't understand it because I question it right now, and I tried to get medical help, like therapy, all that, and it hasn't been working great for me for years now, but I'm trying. But anyway, I'd be 5 years old, 6 years old, first grade. Why are we sitting in lines like in the classroom? Why are we all in a uniform? What is all of this? Like, really questioning reality, very woke, as you would say. And I wasn't aware of what I was doing. I was just thinking I was weird. And I would question, why do we line up as boys and girls? Like, what is all of this? It's confusing to me. The structure, who created the school system? Why is a 5-year-old thinking this? My parents weren't these conspiracy theorists. They were really cool. They still are. They introduced me to music and everything. But anyway, I'd be really young, not knowing anything. Felt really weird my whole life. So even in kindergarten, the one thing I had was music. My parents introduced me to music since I was born. Def Leppard, Bon Jovi, all 80s music, Bryan Adams, anything. They just love music. So that's one thing I got along with everyone about. I could talk about music, and I did sports. I did very typical thing of a 90s kid into the 2000s. You know, you play sports, you do that, whatever. It was fun. I loved it. But there was no music in my middle school to play. So no one I knew except one friend really played an instrument or sang. That wasn't a thing. I always thought I was a horrible singer because no one in my family could sing well. And I could hear it. I didn't sing and say, wow, I'm amazing. I knew I didn't sound good. I could just hear it. And that's part of being a producer. And I didn't know I was producing. And this is going to lead into it. I'd be in the car seat going, Dad, do you hear that the guitar is only in the left ear? And then his vocal moved, and then the drums, I could hear each hit is panned a little. And I wasn't saying panning because I didn't know that term yet, but it's in the left ear, and that cymbal's in the right ear. And the backup vocals are like further away. And then I would do this my whole life and dissect songs. And I didn't know people made a living doing this. I didn't know you can grow up to be a musician for a living. I didn't know that was real. I thought you're kind of born Eddie Van Halen. I thought that's it. I didn't know you work for it. That's a fantasy world. You know, you don't see that. So then remember some bully stories that I want to talk about of how you need to be a leader when you're young. And I found that out early. Back in middle school during these days, I remember one specific incident that we had, like the DARE program, you know, teaching us about drugs and substances and stay away from them. And everyone picked pins at the end of the day. And this stays in my head. I'll never forget this. You pick pins, and everyone thought it was cool, you know, to roll up straws and pretend they look like cigarettes and stuff because it was the 90s, you know, and there was candy cigarettes back then. So I was like, that's stupid because cigarettes give you cancer and that will kill you. So why would you do that? That's how my brain processed it. And I chose the say no to smoking pin. And I was the only person. Everyone chose the same one because it was like cool looking. Everyone wanted it. And I really went up to the front of the room and picked the different one. The whole class made fun of me. I don't know why to this day. And like, as I'm choosing it, they're like, why did you pick that one? And yeah, it sounds silly, but that stuck with me because then we went to lunch and recess and they were making fun of me. They're like, look at the pin on your shirt. It doesn't look like ours. And that moment was a big moment for me because I felt horrible. I went home like, why am I different? Why did I choose that one? And I thought like, why didn't I just choose the other one? I didn't want that other one. I wanted the pin I wanted, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But they really made me feel weird and different because I just chose a different pin.
That's actually, that's a sign of a really strong mind, to have that outside of the crowd mind at a young age. It's actually, I think, a wonderful thing because when we get older, especially, it's like, it's hard to break those things. Actually, I think it's harder when you're younger. And that's the key to so much that goes on these days is people just jump on board with everybody else, right? People are afraid to voice their own opinions. People are afraid to stand up to other people. I mean, we were asked on that last podcast, it's like, not to go too, like morbid, but that woman that was stabbed to death in front of like 30 people. Mm-hmm. And it's like the behavior that you're exhibiting by choosing the different pin to me is outside the sheep mentality. And it's important. It's heroic in my opinion.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. And I want everyone to feel like you could choose what you want and do what you want. And
sure,
there's just so many times I felt pointed out like, oh, you do this, or did you know Lenny does this? I'm like, why are you pointing me out? What did I do? And now I'm realizing I was just a threat to everybody for being a leader. And everyone's scared of other people having power. And it's not about power, though. I'm just making music. I'm just speaking my opinion. For some reason, people are threatened by other people. And I don't understand. I believe with music or whatever success there is out there, there's enough for everybody. I'm not the only one that could become successful in music. Both of you could have hits. I could have hits. Justin Timberlake and Shawn Mendes have hits.
Cliff for sure.
Hey, I'll get you in the studio. We'll make some songs happen.
And I'm actually making a reality for Tyler.
And no, but for real, I've recorded people that actually were tone deaf, meaning they cannot carry a tune when they sing. If they're singing Happy Birthday, for those who don't know, they'll be literally going, Happy birthday to you. And they won't know it's off. Like they'll have no idea.
When we talk about Hollywood, like I feel like Hollywood's been doing a decent job. Like they always show the bully kid that's not cool, right? It's not cool to be the bully kid. We show that in Hollywood all the time, right? But then you just brought up that, and that actually, it gave me a thought. It's like American Idol, you're right. They pick on the people, right? We have a lot of shows where we're producing bully behavior, basically. So I guess it's not as clear as, it goes past Hollywood. It's like we're basically teaching people.
The contracts say they could use your image and likeliness for humor to mock you. It says it that they can mock you. Someone I know is on American Idol. They did a thing where he went over, Katy Perry's one of the judges. He went over, shook all their hands, and the way they cut it, she dropped something, I believe. I forget the exact story, but something happened where she looked like disgusted for some reason. So they made it look like when he shook her hand, she was disgusted because he was like this rocker and didn't look like the typical person. And after they made her say like, I need hand sanitizer. And then they literally made him look like he was a gross person. Wow. Yeah, and so then like they even cut it to the point where they were talking to him going, what kind of singing? Do you do all kinds? Do you sing? Do you scream? Can you growl? And so then he did all three. And when they cut it, they go, could you sing us a song? And they cut it to the, and they were like, what's wrong with you? And they made him look like really horrible. And he tried suing and like posted like, this isn't what happened. And I never saw him pursue music after that. And he was awesome.
Maybe you're actually answering my question, but I'd be curious. So is American Idol good for the world, or is it bad for the world? Is it good for musicians, or is it bad for musicians?
If Ryan Seacrest would like to have me on his morning show, American Idol is such an amazing show.
Yeah.
And if it's for your mental health and your image, I say be very careful, because I don't know how great it is then, because someone could take you and do anything to you and make you look like anything. There's all this technology with AI that could change what you say and my voice, and you could cut it up. I think it's great in the sense that, yes, it can make opportunity. You could be seen, you could be heard, but with anything, even if you're not an American Idol, a record label, a manager, anyone, if this wasn't a bully podcast, you two could even cut this up and make me look horrible with what I say. Sure. And so I think American Idol can be amazing for you. But truthfully, I wouldn't go on there myself.
Yeah. What do you think? Because you used to get clipped and stuff all the time out of context.
I'll say, Lenny, you're absolutely amazing. Because life's about how we think about things. Yeah. You know, like there's risk and reward to everything that we do. And ultimately, everyone wants the highest reward. Yeah. You know, even when a bully's bullying, they want some sort of reward. Oh, I'm like everybody else. You're completely different. Yeah. You thought differently and you did different things. Yeah. And eventually we get into this mold where we realize, oh crap, I got to be different to be seen. Like, yeah. Yeah. So it's like, all right, everybody be like everybody else. Yeah. Oh crap, I got to be different so that I can actually show up and give value to the world and be like. Yeah.
Exactly. It's so
and
tough.
And I look at it and I go, okay, I get the game. The game is there's light and there's darkness. Yeah. And in the darkest times, you get to see you get to see the stars. You get to see the stars. What does everyone want to be? A star. Everyone wants to be a star. But can you be a star in the darkness? And with what you're doing, Lenny, you want to shine light on people. And sometimes, like I've learned myself, you know, I'm a 42-year-old man now. Some people don't want that, even a little bit. Yeah. They'll claim that they want it. And you know what? That's okay. Yeah. Like at one time I thought like, it's so unfortunate. There is no unfortunate. There's just fortunate. Yeah.
It's unfortunate when you see them in pain though, because they do put themselves in pain, and that's what's unfortunate, because people could avoid certain things and their behaviors do lead to destructive behaviors, but we can only help people so much, and they are choosing their path. That's the thing.
What's so cool?
Path, and they choose
What's so cool? Pain is a piece of the game. Yeah. Pain is a piece of the game. So I was an overweight kid and I lost my weight. There was pain. It was different. And I realized like, oh, this is just one big game at the end of the day. Yeah. We can't see hindsight 2020. And so when we start, we can literally reframe our past. And in reframing our past, we create a new future. Yeah. And I was just like, holy crap, this is insane. And so, Lenny, you're great, and that's it. You're great. You don't have to explain like, oh, well, I did this and I did this, and I'm trying to be happy. No, you're going to be happy sometimes. You're going to be not so happy sometimes. You're going to have a story to tell.
And the story wouldn't be getting good without the pain, right? No. And I think about this all the time. What's the better feeling? Is it pleasure or relief from pain? Yeah. And I think
usually it's relief from pain because you don't know if you're just in pleasure.
Sure.
Like if you come out of the womb eating ice cream right away,
exactly.
You're like, this is so good.
You don't get paid in music. You don't get paid in music to further down the road. Yeah. That relieves the pain because the rest is pleasure in a way. And the most reward is when I'm like, oh, I bought a meal. Yeah. And financial struggles are arguably one of the biggest struggles in the world, I would say. So yeah, the relief of pain of your success or anything you do, the relief of pain, whether you become a new person or your transformation of your body leads you somewhere. Yeah, it's the relief of pain. It is.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
sometimes
and
I
you can't have that without the pain, right?
Yeah.
And so, and like, Oprah's never going to interview you if you haven't been through enough things to make a story. So
American Idol won't have you unless you don't have a crazy story.
Oh yeah.
I tell people all the time, it's like, these awful things happen to you, just overcome them. It's part of your story. That's the way you have to think about it. The story would be no good if everything went perfect. You know, if everything was pleasure, the story wouldn't be any good, right? And you couldn't be inspiring to anybody else. So the fact that you've overcome, you know, the adversity of these, being different as a kid, which I applaud you for. It's hard to be different in this world. Now dealing with the naysayers online every time you want to sing and share that, and you have to deal with them. I mean, these are the things that it's going to lead you to your success. And like we talked about online, it's like you just got to focus on the people that it is important for, right? The message is for. Right? The message is not, maybe it's a little for, I mean, hurt people. It's a little bit for them, but it's more so, it's like that person out there sitting in the corner that's siloing, right? That just needed to hear that message today.
Correct. And, you know, it all started for me to be a leader, truthfully. When I was 3, I have 2 brothers, and one of them is diagnosed with autism. So at 3 years old, my parents, who were only 26 at the time, are telling me, you know, well, I was 6 then, and they were, 29 then, which is still insanely young to have 2 kids and one's diagnosed with autism.
Yeah.
And they said, you have to do well in school. You got to take care of your brother if anything happened to us. So here I am, 4 years old, 5, 6 years old, whatever, going, I have to get straight A's. If I don't get straight A's, my autistic brother is going to be in a home alone as an old man. That was my thought from 5 years old. Wow. So everything I did, I cannot drink, I cannot smoke, I cannot get in trouble in school. I've never got detention. I've never failed a class. I've failed tests. That's natural. But like, I was a straight A student. My parents were very hard on me for my grades. If it was under a 90, I'm in trouble. I reached the point where I was disciplining myself, first, second grade. I remember I was spelling things wrong, like simple things. It was first grade spelling test. And I think I got a 63 on this test, a reading comprehension and spelling thing. I went home, unplugged my Super Nintendo, and didn't play for 2 weeks because I said I don't deserve it because I'm failing my family. And that comes from a little bit of pressure from my parents, truthfully. And it's because my father didn't have a father and his mother was not a mother figure. So he had 0% parenting. So he 200%ed me. And that was actually kind of detrimental to me, but we're working on things. I'm a workaholic because of it. I work so hard. I work myself to the ground to take care of people. And I've neglected myself for years up until now, even. And it's a big issue I'm dealing with.
I want to ask you an interesting question. What's your big dream? What do you want to accomplish?
I'm grateful that I do music full time. I'm sitting in my room right now with my dinosaur bed sheets right there, as you could see. Having a great time. I make music right here. My songs made the radio. I work for people I listen to my whole life. I feel like I made it. I don't have a Lambo yet. Do I want one? Yeah, I do. They're cool. They're fast. They're fun. I can't lie. I can't lie. It's fun. Does that define who I am? No, I don't want to be popular. I really don't, because that means I got to deal with talking to more people and receiving more of a headache because people want to just come at me now the more I grow. They want literally people I was close with. Oh, you're having some success. You don't talk to me anymore. What?
Yeah.
Like, where is this coming from? And I don't want to be popular. It's just part of the territory. I will play arenas and stadiums and give people a place to just sing and dance and have a good time. And you will get the messages you need from my music. They're often lessons, positivity, and how you apply them to you. I hope it lets you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It doesn't matter what you want to do. I hope that's what my music does for you. So the big goal and dream is to just elevate what I've already done.
It's like I watched a documentary on the yacht racing, and these guys came out of Australia, and the Americans were always winning. Heavily financed boat, always won, far and away. And then here comes these guys, and the guy was an engineer that built the boat from a different industry. I don't recall what. And he built this fin underneath the boat that had never been heard of. And that boat destroyed every other boat, you know, and it's like literally because he came in with a different mindset, a different talent, a different, you know, like idea of what it could be, you know. And I think we're all too often willing to put people in this box, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's the people that finally like think like you, and you could see like early on that Lenny, you know, he was thinking outside the box way long time ago.
Yeah.
So I could see that, you know, how that would lead to, you know, you reinventing some things. And what I love about what you're saying too, have you seen the new Arnold documentary? Netflix?
I started it last night. Watched the first episode last night.
Yeah. So this is
as soon as it started, I was like, I'm Arnold. I'm literally Arnold. I didn't know. And when I'm at the gym, I actually do Arnold workouts. I know I'm not that big, but I actually go to the gym every day, and I have trouble gaining mass. We could talk about that after, because
you'll get there.
I cannot gain. But yes, go on. Arnold. Love it.
I mean, like, it's so amazing. A couple of key things, but mostly I want to key in on what Lenny said. It's like Arnold says, basically, stay busy. That's his key and be useful. That's his phrase. You know, stay busy and be useful. That was his key to happiness. And Lenny's saying when he's on stage, he thinks of nothing else in the world. And so I think a lot of people that are lost in this misery, they're not staying busy enough. They're not staying busy enough on what they're interested in. And the other key take, this is a little bit off topic for Arnold. He knew, I think knowing what you want is a superpower, right? Arnold knew at 10 years old, he wanted to be a bodybuilder. He wanted to be a movie star. The governor thing came later, but he knew he wanted those things. And if you can align everything in your life to that, that's a superpower. So the sooner you can kind of figure that out, or Lenny found it out early with music, you know, it's like, that was a huge takeaway from me with Arnold. That's why he's so successful. That and his work ethic.
He said he didn't fit in. He's like, I don't fit. He's like, why don't I fit in? And that's something I've written down that I kind of touched upon. But I keep relating the Cliffs episode because it's the last one I heard. Actually, I listened to a few of them. And but even you were saying like belonging somewhere or just fitting in. And to this day, I still don't feel like I fit in. As I grow and I'm finding people who relate to my music, yes, those are the people who I fit with, but it's taking a really long time. And if you want me to answer, do I feel like I fit in? No. I feel out here in Los Angeles, I don't really have friends. I don't go out. I'm only out for business. All I do is my work. When I was working before we started this, I'm working all day after. I'm up from 8 a.m. or earlier past 3 to 4 a.m. working. I'm a workaholic, and it's not great because it's bad for my health. I've ended up in the hospital multiple times, and I don't want to blame anything, but it's because of all the bullying, being told how much I have to work, that you can't do this, and it requires a lot of work for music or anything you're pursuing to really make it grow. It takes so much work, and I've been in the hospital. I've collapsed multiple times. I've been on IVs, all that stuff because I'm malnourished. I got down to maybe like 120 something pounds at one point, and it was because I wasn't eating, and I didn't even realize because I was obsessing on making music and pushing forward. And a song I have coming out in a few days that will be out maybe when this airs. I'm unsure when it will, but anyway, I have a song on Monday. I have a song called, I'll just say this. I have a song called The Messiah Complex that is about all of this. And a Messiah complex is someone who feels like it's up to them to save the world. And that is not going to happen. And that is not a negative or cynical take, because my whole thing is to save the world. And I'm telling you, the way it can be done is if you impact those close to you, because you're going to burn yourself out.
You can't help anybody until you take care of yourself, right? That's key number one. You know, it's like you have to be in a good place physically. Obsessive behavior towards a goal, I mean, that's what's going to get you there, but you have to like still have some balance enough that your body still gets you there.
You know, the forest and the trees. And our stories are defined by us taking action in the story. You know, like just as you said, like I was bedridden for 10 days as an entrepreneur. And I was so good with my time and timing. Like I knew that I could sleep for 4 hours on a regular basis, and that's what I did. I timed it perfectly. What I didn't realize was my kid could get sick. And that 4 hours I would normally get, I didn't get. And it caught up to me. And it beat the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think of myself as a perfectionist, because I'm listening to you and I'm hearing perfectionist. There's a bunch of different ways to go after being a perfectionist. And it's like, okay, where can I change things? We all like influencing people. Like that's what Bully This is about, is influencing people to be something different, to be something greater, to be something more. Mm-hmm. And to remind others who are bullied that they have something different, they have something special, they have something more. And as we go through that process, it's sometimes we have to point the mirror to ourselves and say, am I standing for what I'm telling others to stand for? And sometimes we're not, but we have to go through our journey in order to understand that too.
Yeah.
Beat ourselves up, put ourselves in a gown and say, hey, I'm going to sing about this because this sucks.
Yeah.
And that's why I took the mindset of people saying, you're always positive. I was like, you know what? I need to show them some of the real stuff of how I got to this mindset, because I wasn't always like this. Like, yeah, you can do it. I was like, I didn't do it yet, so I don't know if you can do it. And just being able to afford rent, food, basic living off of music, to me, that's success. You know, like, do I have a job? Yeah, it's mixing music for people. I'm my boss. If I don't want to work today, I don't have to. I've been doing that for a few years. I'm so grateful for that. And I want everyone who wants to do that to be able to be their own boss. But it takes so much work, and I need to show what happened during that, because the journey isn't just put in the work and then it all works. Like, no, you're going to fail and you're going to collapse and you're going to be on the brink of who knows what. You don't know. It's really hard, all of this, to, really make it happen. But people tell me, now they tell me, you're so lucky what you're doing. I wish I could do what you do. And I say, you know what you did in your 20s? You had a life, and I have no memories of my 20s. I don't remember my teenage years. I didn't go out and party. I didn't get to sneak out and get in trouble. I didn't get to get I've never blacked out before. I didn't even get to do that stuff. I'd never taken drugs. Like, I'm not... I can, because if I overdose, then who's going to watch my brother? That's why I never did this stuff. And that mindset, and that's kind of extreme, but you know what? It's who I am. I've accepted it. I'm learning balance now. Maybe
everything costs something.
It does.
Everything costs something.
A lot of people tell me, you're cynical the way you talk. You say it's a bad world we're in, but you just need to go about your life and worry about yourself. There's a difference between focusing on yourself to further yourself and be healthy, and just forget everyone else. This ain't about, it's about you only. Like, there's that's a thing, there's a fine line, and I don't know. It's tough.
You have to have balance in life. There's no doubt. It's something I didn't learn easy. It took a long time to learn it, balance. I'm even still trying to do that now. And then you have to realize everything costs something, to get what you want in life. It does cost something. It costs your time, it costs your health, to some extent. I mean, running a business isn't much different than being in music. It's like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot harder than people think. It's, it's stressful all the time, like it never goes away. And same with, music, you're, working for yourself in the music industry. But I don't think we think about working in the micro enough. And that's what I try to think about these days. It doesn't matter if 400,000 people see Bully This. It matters if one person sees Bully This, and that one person is affected from it, right? If we think about working in the micro, then it's more achievable. right? And then if we happen to hit 400,000 people, then of course that is wonderful, But for now, we work on the one.
Exactly. Every time I post, I've mentioned it's a net into the internet ocean now. It's not just affect 100,000 people like we're saying. If that one person is affected by that one post, if one person hears this episode and goes and tells one person, then it's going to grow 1 to 2 to the 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. But you have to do on a micro level. You have to. Each song I release, I can't think it's just going to be a hit. If 4 people like it, I think 8 people might like the next one. And according to the statistics of how I grow and how business is growing, the numbers show you when the starts going, it goes like this and gets steeper and steeper and steeper, because it'll go, but it doesn't start until that first little bit starts going, and it is that micro level.
And everything has a tipping point, right? Things work gradually at first, but then they'll eventually hit a tipping point. So with music, all of a sudden it's going to explode, right? So, and you don't know when that's going to come.
You don't know. Everyone's journey is different, and it could be when you're 16, it could be when you're 45, it could be when you're 60. It doesn't matter. There's no rules to life, and people need to figure that out too. There's laws, but there aren't really rules, and you need to understand you can do anything you want. I feel like we're finally seeing that. And, I think there's sort of generational trauma finally being broken to the new generation, saying like, you can pursue what you want. You can do what you want. Because it used to be, go to school, get married, have kids, work, this very old mindset. And now people are doing what they want, but it does take a lot more work to do what you want and be your own boss than to just get a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah. People don't realize how much
I do it all. I do it all from morning till night, and makes it hard to eat, makes it hard to balance a relationship. I didn't get to go to the gym yesterday because I was just too busy. Like I could not go there. And if I don't do it, the posting will slow down, and then my growth just stops. It really does. It's about consistency. And you
can't get posting done though if you don't eat. You gotta
I know. And I feel
like 0 posts done if you're in the hospital. So make sure you're eating, make sure you're
and it's just insane though. It's so hard, and the amount of work that goes into it. The thing that kind of breaks my heart the most is when people come up to me and they go, "You play instruments?" I'm like, I'm every instrument on. I was like, there are songs you listen to that you're hearing me and you don't even know it. And like, I post about it a lot, and it still doesn't reach people. There are people who I've grown up with going, "Oh, you do music?" And I was like, how? Like, you've been following me for 15 years on Facebook and you don't see it still? Well, and that's how hard it is to reach people. And, but yeah, we have to take care of ourselves because our body is a temple, and anything
and
we're
one
doing
day at a time, right?
Down. It is one day at a time. You can think of the future, and I was wrapped up in the future since a little kid, and I'm always wrapped in the future, and I'm working on that. But you really could only take care of right now and be mindful and be in the moment. And I struggle with that. I calculate every minute. If I'm doing this is going to take this long. I even stare at the counter right now, hour 2 minutes. It is 11:46 here. I have this to do. I calculate every second. It's obsessive. And I don't like it, honestly. I wish I could change a little. And it's hard though. And with everyone bullying and pushing you, saying you can't do it, that makes me want to stay up an extra hour though and prove people wrong. And proving people wrong shouldn't be your motive to make it. But sometimes it does feel good when you're like, hey,
I mean, I've used it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
A lot in my life. I think it's very powerful if you use it correctly.
Exactly.
But I agree. It shouldn't be to the point where you have to use it. But if you've been given it anyways, why not use it?
Because I love when they tell me you can't do that. In middle school, so I was going to bring this up. Here's a bullying story from my teacher. When I took tests, they would tell you at school, oh, okay, so the essays on this test are going to be this paragraph highlighted in your textbook. That literally, like, it'll say my hard drive case right here, it has this red writing on it, 4 terabyte. They'll say highlight down there. It says 4 terabyte, 3-year warranty. We're going to ask those questions. So what I do, I memorized it word for word, and I would spit it back on the paper word for word. And I would get accused of cheating my whole life. That I have mirrors on my desk showing me my books on the floor, or I'm copying the other kids, but none of the other kids had it written like me. And it would be word for word, though, like full paragraphs.
I know that was
I was told I was cheating.
I know that was a crappy thing to deal with, but how much of that has led you to your work ethic today?
Yeah, a lot of it, because I see things where I can memorize music faster than a lot of people, and I could do these things, and your memory is really important, and, you know, pushing your brain power, it really helped me. But yeah, I was accused from my teachers that I'm a cheater. There is no way you could do that. You cannot memorize that. That's a lot to do. You can't do it. Maybe I am special then.
So I have a take on it. You chose to see how you were going to see what was told to you. Mm-hmm. And anyone out there who's dealing with a problem, dealing with a challenge, yeah, life should be a certain way, but it's not always going to be. You're going to have people who say things, who are going to doubt you, who are going to put a lid on themselves. It's really them. They're not even putting a lid on you. They're putting a lid on themselves and saying, well, I couldn't do this, so you couldn't do this. Yeah. I couldn't do this, so you couldn't do this. You pop the lid off.
Someone has to.
Pop the effing lid off.
Thanks. I'm trying. I want everyone to know you could do whatever. Like, I don't like being told
you
no.
can do whatever. And
it almost makes me want to do that. When you tell me no, I kind of want to be rebellious, because I never had a rebellious phase. I didn't sneak out. I didn't go to parties and get drunk. Like, I didn't get to do that. I feel like I missed a big part of my youth. Not that I'm saying the youth should go out and party, but you know what I'm getting at. I did not do any of that stuff.
Absolutely nothing. Because look at what you've created.
I agree.
And look at what you're creating now.
Yep.
You've missed nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, what gets us in trouble, we look back and go, well, I could have done, and I could have, and what about, and there's this over here. I have today. I have now. You have now. Tyler has now. And I look at, pop the lid off.
Yeah.
You know, that's the game that I say, pop the lid off. And what was interesting, I actually didn't talk very much. I wouldn't speak very much. I actually started speaking more outside of the UFC because people are like, Cliff, you got to get your message out there. You're a powerhouse. And I didn't even realize I had a network that I was building this entire time. And as I started speaking more and more and more, and I'm realizing like, oh crap, I've been so busy being in here because no one can break this thing. No one can break this. I don't believe in you. I do believe in you. I kind of believe in you, but now I don't believe in you because my life sucks. I don't believe in you, and now I do believe in you because you showed that you could do it. It doesn't matter. It's all in here anyway. And when I go like, okay, I can be whatever I want to be, whatever I choose to be. Arnold Schwarzenegger, you, Tyler, what do I want to be? I shut the noise down.
Yeah.
And then people started, you got to speak more, speak more. And the more I spoke, the more I realized, holy crap, not only do I affect others, but they affect me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking more, yeah, I don't like to speak a lot. Something I struggled with when I was in other projects was I wasn't the singer in other projects because I thought I couldn't sing. I thought to sing, you have to sound like Whitney Houston or Aretha Franklin or, you know, Bruno Mars. You have to be the best singer. You don't. You just have to have emotion and conviction and have something that relates to people, and it'll stick with them. And if you have a more pleasant voice, that's always a plus. But the point is, I was told you can't sing. I remember I was in an old project, and I don't like to reflect on this because I don't like reflecting on the negative things, but there was a time I said, hey, I want to sing verse 2. And the singer said to me, sure, just give me a guitar and let me make an a-hole of myself on stage too then. And I looked at him and said, did you just really make fun of me that badly when we've been through everything together? We've toured the country. We've made the radio. We literally quit our jobs. We figured this out together, and you won't let me say something when I do all the audio. And even if I stunk, I could make anyone sound like a pop star. But you made fun of me and you said no one will sing if it's not you. You said my other bandmates can't sing. You refuse it. You will not let it happen. The same person that told me if his boyfriend becomes more successful before him, he has to break up with him. I'm sorry, you hate yourself. You literally hate yourself, dude. Like you do. He's one of the most miserable people. I'm not bashing him. It's not making fun of him. I am observing. I was with this person. They have something to say about everyone. Yeah. And they were one of the best singers I've ever met and one of the most talented people I've ever met in my life to this day.
That's hard.
And
That's so hard.
Were so hard on everyone. And they are arguably the best singer I've ever recorded.
I mean, you're going places, my friend. And, I know there was some not so great things growing up, but I think you're a shining example of, thinking for yourself, working really, really hard to get what you want. Now, I'm glad you mentioned balance in this because it's another thing that I'm like working on these days too. And I'll be the first to say that life has to have enough balance because you can't help anybody without your self.
It's true.
Help. Cliff, before we wrap up today, what do you got?
Absolutely amazing episode. Lenny, appreciate having you and the amazing insights that you gave. And for the audience, work ethic, believe in yourself, keep moving forward, and support systems. The one thing that shows up consistently is who are my support systems? And if we're your support system, just keep watching, keep pouring into yourself, keep doing the things that you need to. And if someone needs a support system, share this out with them. Let them know that it's available. Let's keep shining together. I'm having a lot of fun, and Lenny said it perfectly. There's people who want to support and shine, and there's people who want to take that shine away. Yeah. So that's why it's vital that you be a part of the message. You be a part of that shining light and bringing into the society so that we can all show our greatest potential. And Tyler, appreciate you as always for putting this together. It's awesome, and it's been growing and growing, and we've been having a lot of fun. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. And I really looked forward to this. And I know even my answers were scattered. It probably was hard to get a hold of me. That's because I'm really doing everything.
Thank you so much, man. Great to have you on. Some great mindset stuff, Lenny. And I would say to you, Lenny, make sure you're focusing on the people as much that are getting good things from you as the bad things, right? I know we have some haters and bullies in this world, but focus on the good people, the people that are coming back and saying, this is how much you've helped me, because those are the people worth it, right? And then eventually you'll bring around the bullies too. So thanks so much to Lenny. Cliff, this is the only time we get to hang out anymore.
Yes.
So I guess we better come back next week and do another episode. Thanks for tuning in to Bully This. We'll see you again.
Appreciate you all.
You've been listening to Bully This, A Hero's Journey. The effects on kids that are bullied are many. Increased risk for depression, anxiety, sleep difficulties, lower grades, and dropping out of school. It's a real problem, and that's why we created this show. We're acutely aware of the pain, shame, and damage that bullying causes, and our passion is to help kids and families to know that there is always help, that there is always a solution. We hope you've gotten some useful information from the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Facebook at Bully This, A Hero's Journey. Take care, and we'll see you next time.